What's up, everybody? Seems like it's been a long time since we all been together. Welcome to the 2019 ATL Sports HQ Live Mock Draft. I'm Bob Lancaster. You can find me on social media at Bull and Bob.
I'm Phil Beasley. You can find me on Twitter at _ATL Phil.
I'm Derek Clemens. You can find me on Twitter at Derek Clemens.
I'm Brett Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Brett_A27.
All right, so here's the deal. Those of you that were here for the NFL draft, the mock draft that Brett and I did, it's going to be kind of the same format. What we're going to do is we're going to go through each of our picks, and then we'll kind of just do a general guideline of why why we think that should be the pick. What we won't take into account is we will not take into account any trades or anything like that because officially there hasn't been any trades. So what we'll do is we'll just pick as if the team that has that pick will actually be taking that pick. But we can mention amongst ourselves too, like, hey, if we think that someone's going to trade that pick and who we think might go in there, you could throw that in your description as well. But we're starting with the number one pick, who I'm pretty sure across the board that we're all taking Zion here. Yep. I can't imagine any scenario where that doesn't happen.
I have Anthony Bennett.
Yeah,
long year, man.
I'm trying to think. I was thinking about it earlier. I was like, do you guys, has it been since LeBron, you think that there's been just the unanimous, number one, no doubt?
I mean, probably since LeBron, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time that the hype of a number one pick, I just don't think that Zion's going to be a guy that disappoints either. He just comes off as just that power style player, perfect fit for him. I think in New Orleans, whether he thinks it's a perfect fit for him or not, may be a different story. But one thing about it is they're excited to have him, so they're going to work with him to make sure that he don't go nowhere. So number two, I think we're pretty. What's that?
They're doing a pretty good job so far.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Their team is well orchestrated, and you add Zion, and then maybe if they even keep that fourth pick, I mean, they can do some things with that.
With the number two pick, I think we're all clear across the board too. The Mr. Morant will be drafted to the Memphis Grizzlies as well. Everybody on board with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, I mean, it's been pretty much cemented today as Memphis has traded away Mike Conley to Salt Lake City for a bag of peanuts, essentially. No disrespect to Kyle Korver and company, but they're all pretty much old or past their prime. I think Memphis could have got a much better deal, but that's a story for another day.
They did get 2 first-round picks, but I did see a lot of teams said that they were asking for too much, so it might have limited them. But Morant, he's a perfect fit for them. I mean, he was already put in a leading role, being from a small school, so he's already ready for that, and I think it'll be great to come in and fill in for Conley.
We've had a lot of talk about how good New Orleans is going to be, but Memphis is starting to sneakily become a really, really good squad in the West. So, they're starting to put some pieces together. They've drafted really, really well the last couple of years. And so add Morant to the crew, such a skilled ball handler, adding to that, throw him with Jaren Jackson, and that team is going to be something else here in the next couple of years. So
I think we will see a lot of lives with them too.
To me, that they're confident in his abilities because Mike Conley, to me, was a Memphis lifer. I didn't see him going anywhere else, and the fact that they were willing to give up on him and trade him away so that there wasn't really any kind of vet guy blocking Morant as the star and the starter. So I agree with you. Once they got rid of Conley, that's kind of made it a no-doubter. I think it was a no-doubter regardless. So with number 3, kind of gets a little interesting, I went with RJ Barrett. Where'd you go with, Phil?
The Knicks are gonna nick. No, I'm playing. They're gonna take that. RJ wants to be a Knick. The Knicks didn't really work out. I mean, RJ didn't really work out with anybody else. He's going to be a Knick. Sorry, Knicks fans. I hate you, and I'm very happy that Anthony Davis or Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving will not be joining you Hey, don't get your hopes up for Kawhi or Jimmy Butler or Klay Thompson either. They're not coming. You're a poverty franchise. Thank you.
Brett, who you got, man?
I got him going with RJ as well. I mean, they had that workout with Garland. I think it was today. Just to, I guess tonight, I guess a rumor started, but there's really nothing to that. They're gonna go with Barrett.
Derek, you clearing the board on number 3?
Yep, RJ Barrett. I mean, they've seemed to like him ever since they knew they had a third pick, and I mean, it's kind of obvious they threw a little smoke screen talking about Garland for his workout and stuff, but they know who they're going for.
They can't afford to take anybody else. This is a guy that's gone out in front where everybody's tried to avoid New York that says, I want to play in New York. I want to be a New York Knick. So, you know, now the New York Knick thing here, Phil's laughing, would be to not take him and piss off just about everybody in New York that, you know, that wants RJ Barrett as well. But, you know, one thing about it is that the Knicks have drafted well. You know, it's not as if they don't draft good. I mean, I would say that Nitalinka's may be their weakest top pick in a while, but you know, they've drafted good. Kevin Knox was a good pick. Obviously, Porzingis was a great pick. So they definitely have good guys with, you know, for judging skill and stuff like that. But I just think that the Knicks need RJ Barrett more than RJ Barrett needs the Knicks. So
yeah, because I mean, he has a chance to be really good, and I think the Knicks give him an opportunity to kind of fill into that stardom role because of the big market.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. All right, with the number 4 pick, we go back to the New Orleans Pelicans, and this is where I think it gets interesting. Number 4, I'm going to go ahead and say Cam Reddish, only for one reason, and that's because I think they want to put Zion with someone familiar with him, and who better than his running buddy from Duke, Cam Reddish. Who you got, Phil?
I'm going to go with Jarrett Culver. I think he has potentially the second highest ceiling in the entire draft. I really like his game, and I like what he can bring New Orleans. But honestly, I think that pick may be coming south. Well, I guess north compared to New Orleans, but I think that pick will be coming to Atlanta. We'll see what happens.
What do you think that they would have to give up for 4?
See, I don't think we're going to do 8 and 10. I think we'll do 8, 17, and maybe something one of those future first-round picks, because New Orleans, they're set up really well, but they have a lot of players on their roster right now after doing basically a 3-for-1 with the Lakers. So we'll see what happens. But
I kind of thought that Brooklyn trade ended up giving us a little more options to trade down because we have that protected first rounder from them. So you know, that makes things a little more interesting. So, Brett, what you got, man? Who you taking here?
Yeah, I gotta go with Phil. I'm going with Culver. But yeah, he's not bad at anything. He's great. Well, he's not great. He's a good defender. He struggles shooting the ball a little bit, but you know what he can do. He can great on ball skills on defense. He can beat you off the dribble on offense. He's going to be a special player, I think. So him down there in New Orleans, I think New Orleans will end up keeping the pick. I think, and I think he'll be a perfect fit down there in New Orleans.
Derek, who you got, man?
Yeah, I agree with Brett. I think the Pelicans will actually keep that pick because I don't think they'll get anything that they want. And going off what Phil said, I really don't think they will want 2 more rookies, and I think they would be happy with picking their main guy. And Culver, I mean, like Brett said, I mean, he's probably the most all-around player in this draft this year. And, I mean, I think he would be a great fill-in with Zion. And then you have, if they keep Lonzo and Brandon Ingram, of course. But Lonzo, I mean, being able to find Culver on the slashes and stuff, because, I mean, Culver's a great slasher. And his shot, it has been inconsistent, but the way he shoots the ball, it can easily be fixed because he has a pure form. So, I mean, I think he's great for the Pelicans, and I think they're going to actually stay there and draft him.
Yeah, I'm definitely agreeing with you guys to the fact that my pick is definitely a reach. I'm strictly going by, again, you're trying to build Zion, as your face franchise, and having guys that he's comfortable with around him. It really, that's the strongest reason why I pick Reddish. Obviously, that would be a reach, at Reddish, at number 4. But that's why I got him in, because I really thought that the Pelicans would try to make a run at RJ Barrett, but with the Knicks, being so ingrained on him, I know that that's just not going to happen. So my next thought was definitely Reddish. So number 5, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers. I got DeAndre Hunter for Virginia. He was really, really good with Virginia this year. Kind of the Final Four run, I thought, really pushed his stock up. So I'm going with Hunter here. Who you got there, Phil?
Yeah, Hunter is definitely one of my favorite players in the draft. I got him going to Cleveland as well. Someone who can play on both sides of the ball. Cleveland needs all the overall talent they can get right now. So Hunter just seems like a no-brainer at that spot.
How about you, Brett?
I feel like Hunter is going to end up on the Cavs, but I just feel like the Bulls are going to trade up and try to get Garland, because they're going to think the Suns going to try to get Darius Garland. But I have Garland go. I guess I have Garland going the 5th spot. I guess I'll go ahead and say that. But I think it's going to work out where Hunter's going to be on the Cavs. They'll take him at 7, I think. But as it sits right now, I got Darius Garland going at 5.
Derek, what you got, man?
I'm actually going to go with DeAndre Hunter. He's a great defensive player. He needs to work on his offensive game, which he'll have time to do that, obviously, with the Cavs. But this is where I do think it will get interesting, and I would not be surprised. I mean, we've seen a few rumors already, but if the Hawks' name comes up, because it seems like the Hawks want to trade a package, either the 8 or 10, but most likely they want to trade the 8, or not the 8, the 10 and 17 to the Cavs. And I mean, I think that would be the best thing to do, because I mean, you're obviously not going to pick 3 picks in the first round. So I mean, they would definitely be able to get the guy that they want if they traded the Cavs. And I mean, a name that's come up multiple times is Kevin Love, and if we're willing to take on that contract. How did you guys feel about that?
Well, I'd love it, but we'd have to send. I mean, I would only do it if we included Bazemore going back to Cleveland, because they would have to take on salary for that, for it to even out. So obviously, I mean, he's the only option. Baze would be that would have to go with the package, but I'm a fan of Kevin Love. I think he's very underrated, and I think that he would relish the fact of being able to get out of a rebuild in Cleveland and start somewhere else. So. And he's not one of them guys that you ever hear that tears apart a locker room either. So yeah, I'd be down with that trade.
Yeah, the injuries concern me. I'm not crazy about it, but Kevin Love is a really good player and could really, if we have, I don't know. I know Hawks Twitter thinks we have playoff hopes next year. I don't know if that's in the plan for Travis Schlenk and company, but he's definitely a player that would help us get there. I mean, remember, when this guy is healthy, 20 and 10 every night is virtually guaranteed.
What you think, Brett? You like this trade, or would you like that trade? I mean,
I kind of want to stay young. I kind of plus I like Bazemore. So, and plus I don't like Kevin Love's contract and everything. You got that, was it 4 years, 114 million you signed, whatever it was, or left on the contract, and we're gonna have bukus of cap space at the next year. And I kind of want to keep that and see what we can add on to Trae Young and John Collins and who we get in this year's draft.
Well, that's the main thing too, is that with Baze, you only got 1 year left. He just took the player option, obviously, because he wasn't going to gain anything anywhere else. So at least that far of him now. And like I said, you're attached to Kevin Love for a while, but eventually we are going to have to bring in veteran leadership, veteran talent like that to mix with the young guys. So that, I guess that's why I'm trying to think of free agents that would come here and stuff like that. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But, if Kevin Love to be traded here, that's just one thing you don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about a free agent because he would already be here, So, but it's hard to tell. But, you mentioned with the trade stuff, there are so many teams that want, a lot of the same guys between 5 and 10. So I agree. There's going to be trading going on here of guys wanting to get up above other teams that want the same talent that they want. So if there is going to be a trade, it's going to be, around 4 or 5 for me. But that's what I think. So let's go to the number 6 pick, which is the Phoenix Suns. I actually got kind of a little bit of a reach here. I'm going with Kobe White, the point guard from North Carolina. Good point guard. He was a really, really good scorer, distributor for North Carolina this year. And, man, we know that the Phoenix Suns got to go point guard here. There's just no doubt. So, yeah, I'm going Kobe White. How about you, Phil?
I'm going with a point guard, but a different one. I'm going to go Darius Garland out of Vanderbilt. But like you said, the Suns, of course, it's going to be a point guard. Remember when they had like a roster full of point guards, and then they had like no point guards. So they got to go get one. I value Darius Garland a little more than Kobe White, but that's where I see Phoenix going. Definitely, you got to get somebody next to Booker before he books. Well, he signs like 3 years, but I don't know why he signed that extension date.
And Phil with the first bad pun of the day. So, all right, Brad, who you got?
I'm with you, Bob, because since I have Garland going at 5 of mine, I got Kobe White going with the Suns at 6. He's one of my favorite players in this draft because he can flat out score. We saw what he can do in college. He was a big game player in college. He was North Carolina's best player down the stretch last season. I think he's one of my favorite players. He can flat out score.
Derek, what you got, man?
I have the Suns picking Darius Garland. A little undersized, but I mean his playmaking and craftiness on the court is going to be able to help him get by and still score at the NBA level. I think the Suns are going to, I mean, obviously y'all said it. I mean, they need a point guard, and I think this might be their best option, and they're kind of shown favoritism towards him.
Yeah,
They do have him on. They do have the 6th pick on the market, so it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, I was 50-50 toss up on the two of them. It'll be one or the other to me. Again, if they keep the pick, but again, we're within anybody wanting to trade up or anything like that. But here's a tough one for me: is I can't understand why the Suns would want to trade here with such a big need and a guy that's available right there for them to get. So I'd be hard pressed to think that they would. My guess is any trade would probably have to include. Some kind of point guard or something like that. So number 7, Chicago Bulls. I actually got Darius Garland, the point guard from Vanderbilt. The freshman year, he had the season-ending injury, but he's a lot to me, way better than Chris Dunn. So I think the Bulls have a needed point guard too. So he's my pick there. Who you got, Phil?
I got Kobe White, Trae Young's son. Mr. Chris Dunn is going to be riding the pine next year. Chicago has to upgrade their point guard spot. Now, if both Kobe White and Darius Garland go before this, they're going to have to trade up. They're going to have to do something because Chris Dunn ain't it.
They got just about as much need as Phoenix does. Phoenix is a little more need, but not much by more. So, what you got, buddy?
Yeah, mine I got DeAndre Hunter going here, but like I said, I feel like the Bulls are going to trade up to 5. It's going to be a Cleveland-Chicago swap, I feel like. So the Bulls will end up with Garland, but again, I guess the way it's going right now, I guess technically DeAndre Hunter will be my 7th pick.
Derek, who you got, man?
I got the Bulls taking Kobe White. Brett mentioned earlier how good of a scorer he is, and I think one thing that will stand out for the Bulls is just his leadership ability. I mean, you've seen last year how he just took control of that North Carolina team, and I mean, he just led them to the success that they had. And I mean, that's something that the Bulls need. We've seen all the problems that happened last season with their new coach and stuff, so it'd be good to have a young guy come in who can also be a leader and learn from those other young guys on the Bulls.
Yeah, the thing that either or Kobe White, Darius Garland. Kobe White, though, what I liked about him was it seemed like all year last year the name you heard was Nasser Little. It wasn't Kobe White really kind of played under the radar, but led that team, and it really wasn't really wasn't until near the end of the season that I thought he kind of got the respect that he deserved. And then, going into the tournament, he was just, balling big time. So they'll definitely be, top 7 pick, him and Garland. So definitely no doubt about that. There's definitely needs for point guards. So number 8, we come to our Atlanta Hawks finally getting a pick. Man, I'm going for a hope here. It's a long reach, but I got Jarrett Culver from Texas Tech. What Atlanta could definitely use the wing spot, and size and athleticism of Culver is unreal. And I think he would just fit so good with this young group. So I just don't think he's going to be there, but I'm a praying. So, Phil, what you got, man?
Got Mr. Cam Reddish out of Duke. He can come here. He won't have a lot of pressure, just like at Duke. He didn't have a lot of pressure because playing in the shadow of Zion. He can come in and kind of take what we wanted Taurean Prince's role to be. Now, initially, he probably wouldn't be starting. I think DeAndre Bembry will have that full-time Spartan spot next year. But Cam Reddish can come on, and he can provide some quality wing defense and hit some corner threes. And when he's in there with the bench unit, he can kind of just come into his own. There's not going to be a lot of pressure on him next year. He'll probably have 2 other high-level draft picks with him running that second unit, so they can just come in, play their game.
Brad, before you answer this, Phil, is there chat going on in YouTube?
A little bit.
Yeah. Anybody that's on YouTube listening to us right now,
Dougie got us taking Nasir Little.
Nasir Little. I was going to say, if you're on YouTube and you're chatting with us, let us know who you think the Hawks should pick at number 8, and we'll let the other 2 guys answer. And then if there's anything in, we'll have Phil jump in. So, Brett, who you got the home team taking?
Like I said, I got Cam Reddish. Perfect situation for him. He's going to be out of the shadows of Zion and RJ. Gets to kind of be himself a little bit in a team that, like I said, the Hawks are. Of course, we want to make the playoffs, but no one's really expecting us again to be much of anything next year. So it'll be low pressure situation. I feel like he'll thrive over here in Atlanta.
Derek, what you got, man?
Yep, I got Cam Reddish. He's my favorite player in this draft class, and I think he can have the upside of being probably maybe the best out of the class outside of Zion and Morant. But, I mean, just his ability to score on the ball and also play off ball. I mean, he can take a lot of pressure off of Trae Young because of his ball handling ability and being able to create his own shot. And, I mean, Trae Young will find him in the spots to knock down the threes. And, I mean, just his wing, he has a long wingspan. And, I mean, he just has a lot of upside to his game. And I think he's one of the most high talent players in this draft class.
Yeah, because I took Cam Reddish earlier in the draft, that's why I didn't have him for Atlanta. But he's easily my second choice. I like his style of play. Again, like you said, I think he would fit in great. He's a guy that can move with the ball, which is something that I really, really want to see. Someone that's going to be paired up in the lineup with Trae. I don't want to see guys lagging behind when Trae is trying to run up and down the court and create, fast break opportunities and stuff like that. So I want athleticism to go with, to go with what we have in place. So anybody say anything on YouTube there, Phil?
Yeah. So Dougie has us taking Nasir Little. If the Wizards are going to take Goga at 9, he wants us to nab him at 8. And then our good friend Stewart has Culver. But if he isn't there at 8 and the Hawks can't move up to get him, then we will get Reddish at 8.
Sounds good. All right, let's go to number 9. The Washington Wizards. I got them taking Jackson Hayes, the center from Texas. They need some inside talent, and really, this is a weak draft for centers this year. But for me, he's the best prospect, big man in the draft. So, and like I said, I think it's a big need for the Wizards. So I got Jackson Hayes, the center from Texas. Who you got, Phil?
I got Sekou Doumbouya. I know
Sekou
out there that want him.
I can't get Pascal, but I can get Sekou.
I think the Wizards are going to raid on some of our parades and take him. He's very raw, but he has some good physical tools. But it's going to be a little while And Washington, they pretty much have a lost year next year anyway. I think they're going to trade Beal. They need to trade Beal. John Wall is going to be out probably all of next season. They will be near the bottom of the lottery next year. So just let him come in and develop and play his game.
Brett, who you got here?
I got Saku, whatever. Saku, I don't even want to say it.
CQ.
So he's gonna go. The Wizards are a train wreck. They're what the Browns used to be at the NBA now. They are so poorly ran. They don't even have a general manager right now. There's a train wreck right now. So, but they need some to hope for. And Saku is raw. The Wizards have no hopes for the next couple of years. They can develop him to help him reach his full potential. But yeah, I feel like that'll be a good situation for him to go in and where he can really be in the NBA.
Derek, who you taking here, man?
I got the Wizards actually taking Nasir Little from North Carolina. And it's for a couple of reasons that y'all said. I mean, Nasir Little is a project, and I think the Wizards have time to wait for a project. I mean, Nasir already has the abilities to guard at the NBA level, but his scoring is not up to the top notch yet. But he has the characteristics to become one. I mean, he's an athletic freak, and I mean, if he can find a shot and other ways to create an offense, I think he'll be pretty good. But I mean, yeah, the draft's tomorrow, and like Brett said, they don't know what they're doing with their general manager spot. So I mean, that's always great to know.
Yeah, they're a disaster. That's why I think that their pick for me in the top 10 was the hardest, because they literally need everything and could go anywhere and can afford a project, and so someone there is going to be a reach. Just because they want to know who's going to be good for them in 3 years, not who's going to be good for them in the next couple of years. So it could be anybody. I struggled with that one for a while. So, but now we go to number 10, back to the home team. And, Phil knows who I want here because I've said it many, many times on Game Time Radio. CQ is my guy here. I love this kid. I've watched video on him for the last 2 weeks, and I fantasize on what him and Dre can do on the court together. This dude can legit run the court, and he's 19 years old, and he's pro experienced. I love him. I usually try not to get attached to draft picks just because you normally get let down, but I honestly would be let down if we don't get this guy, because I know that the Hawks are interested. They ran a private workout with him, which really interested me. So I really like him. So Phil, I know you don't got him because you just had him go last pick. So who you got?
I have Jackson Hayes, the center out of Texas. Now, y'all know me. I'm not a big believer in drafting big men early, but we have a little bit of a security blanket here. Worst come worst, you can, in today's NBA, if John Collins gets a little better defensively, you can slide John Collins to the 5. Jackson Hayes is very raw, and once again, it's going to take him some time. He needs to put on a little more body, but he has a good frame on him, but he's very, very, very raw. So it's going to take some time, but also we have that security blanket. Dedmon will likely be back on another 1 or 2 year deal. So just let him develop, maybe even throw him down the road to College Park for a little bit, let him really feast. But the rebounding will have to be a little better. It wasn't amazing down there in Texas, but that's my guy. I think it's a good risk.
Brett, who you got us taking number 10?
Yep, I got Jackson Hayes as well. I mean, I love this kid. He's a freak athlete for his size, and he's kind of like of course you can't get the John Collins type build to him. But again, he's a work in progress offensively. The defense is going to be there. But again, like Phil said, the rebounding needs to get better, which that will get better once he gets more size added to him. But yeah, this kid and Trae Young running the pick and roll will be will be an elite at some point down the line. And Texas has a recent history of centers being drafted in the first round, and they've all Miles Turner's turned out pretty good for Indiana. Mo Bamba is still a work in progress in Orlando, and he got Jared Allen turned the corner this year in Brooklyn.
What about Dexter Pittman? That was Texas, right?
Who? What was it?
Pittman.
Let's see. I don't even know who that is. So
yeah, he was like the 400-pound guy.
I don't even know who that is.
I was expecting Brett here at this pick to take the center from Georgia, actually. I definitely had that for you here in number 10. So,
oh man, that's
in our group chat and Twitter, Brett has made it well known that he does not want this guy to be picked for the Hawks at anywhere near the first round. So, all right, Derek, who you got, man?
I'm gonna go with Jackson Hayes. Y'all hit on a few points I was gonna make, but yeah, I mean, just his long ability to, and he'll be able to rim protect with that long wingspan. I mean, the rebounding will come. I mean, you learn ways to get the upper hand on rebounding in the NBA because it's different in college. But I think they would just be able to coexist well. I mean, he's pretty quick on his feet for his size, but he is raw and needs to be more fluid throughout, like on his offensive game and sometimes on his defensive game. But he seems to have control of his body, which is always a good thing. So, I mean, I think he is probably the best center in this draft class, and we obviously need a center that can rim protect. So I think he is our best option here at the 10th spot if we do keep this pick.
I really, really like him as well, but I just hate drafting a center in the top 10. Especially in a draft where I think that there's better game ready players that could slide in with the crew that we have instead of spending 10 on a prospect. As how we're doing this, I think that we could draft somebody at 18 that would be a better center prospect instead of having to give one up in the 10. Obviously, there's going to be moves made. We're quite aware of that. So, we can't guess on that, So if moves are made, you may have to take that at number 10. So all things could change. But yeah, like he would definitely fit in here as well. I'd only be disappointed because I told you I love Siku, but that would be an okay fallback plan for me. So at number 11, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Man, I got a big reach here, but this is someone that I've kind of grown on watching some tape and stuff like that. I think Mfiondu Kabengele, the power forward center from Florida State, sophomore, really, really good size and strength inside, but he put up some impressive numbers. He didn't really get a lot of minutes in Florida State, but his stock's been rising this week, and so I like him at number 11. How about you, Phil?
I have Ryu Hachimura. I really wanted to select him 10, but I just felt like the Hawks had a bigger need at center. So he's really athletic. I think he'll fit in really nicely next to what's our guy from Georgia Tech? His name just escaped me. Brett's probably about to shoot me.
wait. What guy from which one from Tech?
Oh, the guy in Minnesota.
Towns? Carl Anthony?
Towns.
The Tech guy.
Okogie. Josh Okogie.
Yeah, fit really nicely next to our guy, Josh Okogie. He's athletic. He's smart decision making, but he got to improve one-on-one a little bit.
It tells you how much I love CQ that I didn't say Ryu because I love him too, So
the competition, the competition's a little weaker. But I mean Gonzaga, they're a squad, but previously Gonzaga picks haven't been amazing.
I always tell everybody, how many guys can you name in the NBA now that were stars at Gonzaga? Yeah, exactly. That's the answer. That's why I get scared drafting people from Gonzaga. So I would say that the last really successful Gonzaga pick was probably John Stockton. So that tells you how long it's been since they've had a really successful, super successful guy. So, Brett, who you got the T-Wolves taking?
Yeah, I got see here. Wait, who do I have? No. Here it is. I got not Brandon. Roy Hachimura. I got him too. I really, again, like Phil said, I really like this guy. And again, 20-point a game score in college. I don't care where he did it at. It's still impressive. And he's kind of a stretch big too. He shot over 40% from three. So again, I really like this guy and a good fit next to Karl Anthony Towns, I think.
the thing that was great about him was that not only did he, you mentioned his scoring, but he scored well, having Brandon Clark scoring well, with him. So, there's a reason that they went as far as they did in, on a season that they weren't predicted really as to go as far as they did in the tournament this year. So, Derek, who you got in this pick?
I got for the Timberwolves. I got Siaku, and go ahead and say that last name because I'm not going to attempt it.
Siku Doumbouya.
Yep, you got it. I don't. But yeah, I got them taking him just because he's on the board still. I mean, it's hard to see him on the boards. I mean, the Wizards more than likely will probably go after him. I took a little risk with saying they'll take Nazir, but I mean, he can play. I think he can actually play with Towns, and I think they can coexist a little bit on the floor together. So I think that would be a solid fit for them.
One thing is, I would actually kind of agree with you, Derek, to the point was, but I really honestly think that Ricky Rubio scared them when it comes to taking flashy international point guards that could run up and down the court, because Ricky Rubio was this same type of prospect, could fly up and down the court, had incredible ball handling skills, and his game really never really translated to the NBA style. And so that's why I think the Timberwolves might be a little scared to take him, but he would fit into that group as well too. So, but obviously I had him going a little bit higher. So, number 12, the Charlotte Hornets. I got Hachimura going to Charlotte. The thing is this really all depends kind of Kemba Walker. Can they re-sign him? But I think they want to add some talent inside, and Hachimura is so versatile and a really, really good outside shooter. So I think he'd fit in good there. Phil, who you got?
Goga Bitzotti. I think they're finally tired of which Zeller do they have? I get them all mixed up. The Zellers, the Plumleys, the other. I don't know, there's some other brothers out there, but they're probably tired of one of the Zellers. They got to get a center in there. They tried the Dwight Howard experiment. He had a good season when he was there, but they really haven't had a solid inside guy for Kemba to play with, and unfortunately now it may be too late. But Goga, he could end up being one of the better centers if not the best center in the draft. He's very raw. Of course, you don't know exactly what you're getting coming from overseas, but Charlotte, they have to take some risks.
Brett, who you got here, man?
Yeah, I got Goga too. I mean, I don't know much about him, but I know he's supposed to be an elite defender and rim protector, and Charlotte just needs help down low. They have not had a good center in a while. Again, they tried the Dwight Howard experience. That was all right. Like you said, he had a decent season, but they need a building block down there if they want to even have a chance of keeping Kemba. Kemba says he wants to come back, so if that does happen, he's going to have a good running mate with Goga.
Derek, who you got here, man?
I got the Hornets taking Hachimura. I think they'll go for the big. I think that he can run the floor and do some of the big qualities, even though he's only standing. I think he's 6'8", if I'm not wrong. But I mean, he has around a 7-foot wingspan, so he can do a little bit of both. He'll need to improve some skill on his offensive game, but I think that would be a solid pick for them.
And as we go along here now, a little later in the first round, mid to end first round, here's where you're going to start seeing these guys that may not necessarily make the short-term impact, but we'll definitely start seeing the floor, and then trying to fit in on teams that might have needs and stuff like that. So really here everything's just kind of a crapshoot. So at number 13 for the Miami Heat, I got Nickeil Alexander-Walker, his shooting guard from Virginia Tech. I debated on this one for a while because Goran Dragic, could become a free agent. So with the Heat possibly needing a point guard, I was kind of like, they may go point guard, but I didn't really see a great point guard for them there at 13. So I went with Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Who you got, Phil?
I have Tyler Hero. Reports are out there that the Celtics are really closing in on him and want him. So of course I have to continue to ruin the Celtics week because it's probably been one of the worst weeks in Celtic history. So I have the Heat taking them one pick ahead. He's the shooting guard out of Kentucky.
How crazy is it that, all season long we heard about how the big winners were going to be the Knicks and the Celtics. Then the draft lottery happened, and in a span of like 3 weeks, the Knicks and the Celtics have become the biggest losers of free agency. And
I love it.
it is great, isn't
It's
it?
an amazing thing to see. I love to see those two teams fail. I wish the Lakers could fail too.
Yeah, me too. I just now, I don't like them to begin with, but then now that two shy roots for him, I really don't like them.
Yeah,
So,
the timeline has been just like one swirl of disease since the Anthony Davis trade.
yeah, Brett, who you got the Heat taking?
I got him going to Romeo Langford, the guard from Indiana. I mean, of course, this season didn't go as planned up there in Indiana. He was a top talent coming in, and he got hurt. But if he's healthy, he can just kick and play. He's a real sleeper in this draft due to his not so productive season up there in Indiana. But if he gets healthy and gets back to how we know he can play, it could be a real steal for Miami. D-Wade's gone, so now they need a replacement at the guard. And Langford, I feel like it'll be a nice start for him there.
Yeah, who you got, Derek?
I got the Heat taking Kevin Porter Jr. I like his game a lot, and I think he would fit in well with the D-Wade departure. I think he'll play well with the guys on that team too. I mean, he's a scorer. He needs the shot is not fully there yet, but he can create his own shot. And I mean, his athletic ability is very well. And I mean, he's had a few trouble when he was at USC. So hopefully he can get that together. But I think he has a good upside in the league.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I like him as well. So number 14, the aforementioned Boston Celtics. Yeah, I actually got them taking Brandon Clark, the power forward from Gonzaga. I think it'd be good for him. He's a tremendous shot blocker, great rebounder, and is really, really good around the rim. He's just not a developed shooter at all. He had games where he was fantastic, but especially if you watched him in the NCAA tournament, he dominated down low. And with Marcus Morris probably going to leave, they need a little bit of depth there, and Boston pretty much they need everything. So. Phil, who you got the Celtics taking?
I've got another Kentucky guy. I got Mr. Al Horford's replacement at power forward, Mr. PJ Washington. It might be a little bit of a stretch here, but the writing pretty much is on the wall for Kyrie and for Al Horford. So I think they'll probably retain Terry Rozier at point guard, so they need to go try to get a power forward. So PJ would be their guy.
Brett, who you got there?
Yeah, I'm going with Tyler Hero because I saw that same report Phil was talking about earlier, how the Celtics seem to be really in love with this kid, and he's the best shooter in this draft. He can flat out light it up from three-point land, and I feel like the Celtics need him, and him running beside Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Scary Terry. They'll make a little noise in the East. They won't be any contenders or anything, but they'll be a nice little squad up in Boston.
Derek, who you got Boston?
I agree with you, Bob. I got Brandon Clark going there. I think he would fit in well. I mean, the departure of Al Horford probably most likely. And Morris, I think he can play down low a little bit, a little undersized to play down low, so have to be able to knock down shots. But I think that will come later in his career.
Yeah, he's like I said, he's a real solid guy, and
yeah, he's all around.
Yeah, he's been projected, right around this pick point. So, I definitely expect him to go within like 14 to anywhere between 14 to like 17 or so, or around in there. So, with the number 15 pick, Detroit, I got Nestor Little from North Carolina. The Pistons really need to improve on the wing, and a lot of talk about him, early on in the season for quite a while. He was being talked as a top 5 pick. Obviously, kind of disappointed a little bit in North Carolina as Kobe White ended up being the star there, So my problem with Nasser Little is that I thought he should have went or stayed one more year at North Carolina. I think he's coming out a little too early. So reminds me a lot of Marvin Williams. So who came out, obviously came out a little too early himself. So, but yeah, I like him. I like him in that pick. So, who you got there, Phil?
I've also got Nasir Little. Teams are looking at them struggles that he had toward the end of the year in North Carolina with, like you said, Kobe White kind of taking over. But, he really fits the need on the wings that the Detroit Pistons have, and he's very physical. And he's also, but sometimes he gets that tunnel vision scoring-wise, just like our good buddy Torian Prince did. But I think, with some work, I think Dwayne Casey can dig into him and turn him into a decent player. Detroit needs to rebuild, by the way.
Brett, who you taking?
I got him going. Nikhil Alexander Walker. I know this kid all too well from watching him just shred Georgia State to pieces this past season. He just do it all kind of player. He's not going to blow you away or anything, but he's just a solid player, and I feel like he'll be a good fit in Detroit. And yeah, the Pistons need to hit the reset button up there, and I feel like doing that with Alexander Walker would be a nice little building block for the future.
Derek, where are you taking there?
I have the Pistons selecting Romeo Langford out of Indiana. They need wings, and I think he would be a good one because he's just a natural scorer. So I think they should take him, but we all know the Pistons, the mediocrity of the Pistons, and for the past 12 years, ever since they won that championship in 2004. So they're known to mess up, so we'll see what they end up actually doing.
A little sidebar. How y'all think Dwayne Casey feels right now? All the talk was about how you think buddy in San Antonio, DeMar DeRozan feels. How does Dwayne Casey feel right now?
Dwayne Casey, I absolutely love him, but I don't like him running the ship, So he's really, really good developer, and but I just don't. I like him as an assistant, So that's always been my feelings about him. It's just that he doesn't really. He's just really good voice, but he's just not really good being the top voice. So. But number 16, the Orlando Magic. I got Romeo Langford, the shooting guard from Indiana. Essentially the same thing as last one. The Magic need a scoring ring, They need a scoring wing, especially with Terrence Ross. I think goes into free agency, so that'll be a big loss for them. But yeah, so it could be a flip flop between him and Little for me. So who you got there, Phil?
I have Nikhil Alexander Walker. Orlando really needs some scoring. We saw there in the playoffs versus Toronto, there were times they just could not put the ball in the boot. They have hopefully Markelle Fultz coming back, but as we know, he's probably not really going to be a scorer. He'll be more of a distributor. And then he's a bigger guard. He can defend. He's versatile. He can spend some time at the 3 spot. He can shoot the ball. So he's very versatile, and that's really what Orlando needs right now.
Yeah, Orlando pretty much gets to treat Markelle Fultz as a draft pick as well. New to them, still very young. You have to just assume that he's essentially just was what he would have been a senior this year had he stayed in college. So he's still essentially just a 4-year college player. So they could look at him as a draft pick as well. But Brett, who you got here?
I got them going Nasir Little. Everybody's mentioned his subpar season at North Carolina. I feel like that would have changed if he would have went to Georgia Tech like he was supposed to do. We've stopped for a whole year. He's coming to Tech, but that never happened. So, but again, he's got a great skill set. He's got an NBA ready body. I felt like like I said, someone talked about earlier how he could have been a top 5 pick if he would have panned out how we thought he would at North Carolina. But I love this kid. He's going to be a sleeper if he figures it out. puts everything together, he's going to be a star. I feel like.
I agree with you. He's right in for this round of picks. The mid tier. I think he's got the most upside for a mid tier pick of anybody in this draft. So, Derek, who you got here?
I got the Magic taking Tyler Hero. Actually, pure shooter would be great for them. I mean, he's just able to knock down the shots when he's open. They do need to find a point guard. I do agree with Phil, so they might look at that at this spot in the draft. But I think Tyler Hero would help them stretch the floor even more.
All right,
if they're able to keep Vucevic.
Yeah, that's Vucevic. Number 17, the Hawks got that pick right now. For me, I mentioned this earlier when you guys were talking about the number 10 pick. If they were to keep this pick, I think that's where they would go Goga just for needing a center. Another pick that I just flip flop here just because I really don't think the Hawks are going to have this pick. But Borgo was another one that I saw that I thought about here. So. But I mean, if they do keep the pick, they're definitely got to take a center here. And this is, I think, 17 safer for development of a center. So I went with Goga here. Who you got, Phil?
I have Bobo Psych.
Oh, no, I was gonna leave. I was gonna leave. I was gonna end it.
I have Brandon Clark. He's someone who I think can really turn into a great defensive player, and we need defense. We were the worst defensive team points per game wise, but as Coach Lloyd Pierce said, that doesn't translate into actual man-to-man defense. He thinks we're a little further, but anyways, he's a very versatile guy, and he can block the ball, he can rebound, and he has very high basketball IQ. He just seems like a good Hawks player that Coach Lloyd Pierce can really mold and develop.
Great thing about Brandon Clark too is he is a defensive hog. So, when you're looking for a guy down low that will, that focuses more on rebounding and getting those shots and putting them in, he's the perfect guy for that. I'll tell you what, if they draft Brandon Clark, that'll be the second Atlanta Hawks jersey that I have outside of Vince Carter. So you think I would have Trey by now, but I've never been mistaken for a youthful Trey Young yet. So
they're always sold out in my size. I can't find one.
Well, if they're sold out on your side, I'm guessing they don't have mine. So, Brett, who you got the Hawks taking here?
All right, what I would do is I would take Brandon Clark here, but I saw the tweet earlier. Nick Claxton got an invite to the green room. There's supposed to be a promise here.
We're in trouble, aren't we? I thought the same thing.
There's supposed to be a promise. There was a rumor about the promise, and this green room thing came out.
Yeah, promise at 35. Whatever we are.
I wouldn't do it, but I feel like the Hawks are going to do it. They're going to take Nick Claxton at 17, and he's got a good frame, but he's got great athleticism to him. But I personally wouldn't do it at 17, but I could see the intrigue there. But I just would not do it here. But I
thought he should have stayed another year in Georgia.
He should have.
There's certain
probably ain't like the coach calling them out.
That's true.
There's certain former HQ members that I get on about crying over draft picks. I'll tell you what, if they pick him, I'm going to be crying because I don't want nothing to do with that guy, man. I mean, again, he's just that I like a project. Don't get me wrong, but that dude is, like you said, he is a late first rounder to early second rounder. I'm not looking for that at 17. I mean, I don't know what he's been showing in workouts, but the fact that the Hawks are the only one that seem to be in on him tells me something. So
yeah, I'd say that Greener invite, you don't just get one, just go in the second round. So something's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with you. Derek, who you got here?
I got the Hawks taking PJ Washington from Kentucky. I mean, as a power forward, he can almost do it all. And he's a knockdown shooter from the mid-range and then is able to score with his strength and long arms around the basket. And he's actually a solid passer for the power forward position. The Hawks always talk about best player available. And I think around at this 17 spot, he might end up being the best player available at this time. So I think he would be a good pick for us if he's still there on the board. And if we keep that 17th pick, which I don't think will happen.
No, I think we're all in agreement that we're picking this strictly as something to pick because there's no way we're going to keep this pick. So I think we will use it to move up somewhere. So at the number 18, Indiana Pacers. I got Keldon Johnson from Kentucky here. Yeah, they got the Pacers have a lot of free agent wings. And so he would definitely fit in as a wing, and he's a really, really good lockdown defender. So yeah, I got Keldon Johnson. Who you got, Phil?
I've got Bol now here. I don't see it, but someone's gonna pick him high. Like I said, I'm not a believer in. I think big men is a crapshoot, and I think Indiana is gonna take the risk. They don't really. They if Victor comes back healthy next year, they should be one of the best teams in the East. So it's not like they're counting on somebody. It's a high risk but a high reward move.
Let me tell you something about Nate McMillan and wiry centers. It doesn't work out. he has not done well with centers with his time with Seattle. There's no one I'm more familiar with coaching style than Nate McMillan, and centers aren't his forte. So he was a point guard his whole career, and that's why he's really good with small balls. So Brett, who you got there?
See here, I got PJ Washington here going to Indiana Pacers. I just feel like he shot like 20% from three his freshman season. And he came back and now he's a 40% 3-point shooter. So obviously he's got the work ethic to get better. And going to a team like Indiana with Nate McMillan as the coach, I feel it'd be a perfect situation for him where he could thrive.
At that pace, he'll be 100% shooter in 3 years.
That's right.
When you're improving 20% every year, that's worth a shot. So Kyle Korver by year 2. So, Derek, who you got the Pacers taking?
I got the Pacers taking Keldon Johnson from Kentucky. I think they need to add a few more wing players to finish their little project that they have going on there. I mean, they're a well-built team, and hopefully Oladipo can come back full strength next season. And it would be fun to see just them run and play together. I mean, they have a lot of good talent around on that team, and that chemistry is very high. So we'll see with that.
All right, next pick, the 19th pick, we have San Antonio. Here I got them taking Bol. But I'll tell you, if Go Guy is available, that's who they're taking because we all know how Pop loves him some international flavor. So, but I got Bol here. No real reason why other than I think the Spurs could use a center, but that I really had no clue who the Spurs might be interested in here. So, Phil, who you got?
I got Keldon Johnson. He just seems like a Spurs pick. He's going to become their next Kawhi now, but he's not a sexy pick. He just goes out there and plays basketball, and I just think he's made for the Spurs, made for Pop, because I don't see Milwaukee right here in this range, so he's not made for Bud.
All right, Brett, who you got?
Yeah, I agree with Phil here. I got Keldon Johnson. He just seems like Phil said, he's a Spurs type player. So I got Keldon Johnson going here.
Derek, who you got?
I got the Spurs taking Goga. I mean, like Phil said, that's just the type of player that the Spurs look at, and they like them a lot. So I see them taking him if he's still there at this point.
My pick of Bol scared Phil completely off the show. He's like, forget this, man. I can't see. Man, I don't get, other than the fact that the dude is, 7'7", what the hype is about him. His dad wasn't that good. He's the same body type as his dad. So I don't know.
Because they've seen him move a little bit. I mean, he could dribble, pull up and stuff, but I mean, at the NBA level, no.
My biggest concern for him would be injuries. You got those guys that that are 7-footers. The feet, the knees, they go quickly. So, if he puts on any kind of weight on him, he's going to struggle with injuries. So, and then that growth syndrome that he has too is also it's a disease. So, I like I said, I think he's overhyped, but he is going to get picked. I mean, and he is going to get picked in the top 20. So, Boston Celtics at number 20. I got PJ Washington, the forward from Kentucky. One thing about we talk about people staying and going, and PJ Washington to me is the one guy in this draft who deciding to stay another year pays out massive dividends for him. He had such a good year. He would have been a mid-second round pick last year, and to me, he moves up in the first round this year. Who you got here, Phil?
I got Nick Claxton going to the Celtics because I don't believe in Nick Claxton. So, of course, I want the Celtics to fail. But apparently, yeah, he does have a promise to go in this range. And, with Al Horford leaving once again, they are going to need players to fill in that big man position. I wasn't a big believer in him at the University of Georgia this year. But I guess the pros see something and they make millions of dollars, and I don't. So there you go.
Brett, who you got the Celtics taking here?
Yeah, I got Bol here. I'm actually a big fan of Bol. I really like him, and I know people are gonna say the injured and stuff like that, but he can stay healthy and figure out a way to put on some weight. He could be the real deal. He's got some handles for 7'2", 3", whatever size he is, and yeah, I really like Bol. He got time to get healthy up there in Boston and really develop how he should be.
Derek, who you got Boston taking?
I have Boston taking Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They need a point guard. Terry Rozier will not work out for them. Sorry about your luck. I'm not really high on him, but I think Walker will be a solid point guard for the Celtics if they're able to get him. But I don't see them picking 3 times. I don't see them picking 3 times in the first round.
Me either.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see one of those picks be moved. But they'll definitely be targeting a point guard, I believe.
Hey, without Kyrie, without Al Horford, they might need to pick 3 times.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that talk about a gutted team. Yeah, they may be needing some players. They're like LA. Eventually, you got to find someone to play with you. So, at the number 21 pick, the team that shall not be named, I have them taking Tyler Hero, the shooting guard from Kentucky. He's a great outside shooter and really good finisher. I think he would benefit good in Oklahoma City, whether I want them to do good or not. So I just can't talk about him. I get physically ill when I talk about him. So who you got Oklahoma City taking there?
I got the USC freshman Kevin Porter Jr. OKC is going to need some scoring with Dennis Schroeder probably going to be shipped out. Dennis Schroeder, like it or not, he was great for them last year alongside Russell Westbrook, but they can't afford to have another $150 million, $200 luxury tax bill for to be out in the first round. So Kevin Porter Jr. he'll provide them with that scoring off the bench. He's good with or without the ball, but there's some issues there, some maturity issues, but he'll fit in with them.
Real quick before I go to Brett, do you think Dennis could go to Phoenix?
I could see it if Phoenix doesn't get their guy. I could see Phoenix. I could see Chicago maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I could see Boston.
I mean, I think with the season he had last year, he definitely shown that he thinks he's a starter somewhere again. So no need for him to be sitting behind people. So
yeah, I think he did more for his stock and his name last year than he did in his 2 starting years with Atlanta.
Because he was garbage here, Phil. That's why his stock was down. He was terrible. So I mean, we gave him the keys to the castle, told him to lead us to the promised land, and he opened up a hookah bar in the castle. So
they got shut down.
Yeah, and it got shut down. Exactly.
Yeah, it was. I think I talked about that already. It is gone.
Brett, who you got at Oklahoma City taking here?
Yeah, I got him second Kevin Porter Jr. as well. I mean, if he keep his head on straight, this he can play, and he can. I feel like he's be a good sixth man down the line. He can flat out score. It'll be a nice little weapon off the bench for Oklahoma City down the line.
Derek, who you got the blunder taking?
The who?
The blunder.
Well, I got them taking. I just seen a Hawks notification come up. Hold on. Oh, it's the money that we got back from that pick. But I got the Thunder picking Cam Johnson. I would argue that he might be the best pure shooter in this draft, and he's good coming off screens. And just his ability to find his shot. He can shoot, I mean, with a hand in his face. He's a little taller. So I think he can end up being one of the best, if not the best shooter in this draft. And, I mean, that's what the Thunder need. I mean, you've seen in the playoffs last year, they got killed because of their shooting percentages from Russell and Paul George.
Oh,
So, yeah.
Hey, Paul George gets past that. It's showing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, number 22, we got the Boston Celtics again. Like I said, I think all of us fully expect that they're not keeping all their picks, but going on what Phil said, with them needing, with Terry Rozier, Kyrie Irving, and leaving, I'm going with Ty Jerome, the guard from Virginia. Strictly for the point that was there, and I thought was the best available. So I got Ty Jerome. Who you got, Phil?
I got Romeo Langford. At this point, it was kind of just best player available. Nothing really sticks out about Langford, but he was playing through some injuries last year. So a little bit of a low risk, medium reward. His jumper isn't very good. He got to improve off the dribble, but he's a good all-around offensive player, and Boston will need all the offense they can get next year.
Brett, who you got here, buddy, for Boston?
Yeah, I would say Ty Jerome, but the way my draft fell, Brandon Clark's still available, so I had them taking Brandon Clark here at 22. So this guy, they're going to lose Morris and Horford, so if this happens, this is a win-win situation for him as they will nab two potential starting big men. Like you said, Clark is a defensive monster. He's a nonstop motor. I feel like he's gonna be in the league for a long time. I feel like.
Yeah, I think Brandon Clark would be pretty disappointed if he was to fall that far down. Just my opinion of knowing and seeing his play and stuff. The problem that Brandon Clark has is that really, their games didn't get watched a lot, because they don't start till 10 o'clock at night, on the Eastern Coast. So there's a lot of people that really haven't seen him and Hachimura play all that much, other than seeing them in the tournament. So now someone like me, I'd be more surprised, but the casual guy, watching the draft, may not feel the same way I have, just because they haven't watched as much Gonzaga as I have. So. Derek, who you got Boston taking here?
Well, if they even pick at this spot, I got them with the big guy from Florida State, Ford Mifandou.
Yeah.
However you say his name. But I think he can battle down low. I mean, he came off the bench, actually, for Florida State, I think all the way up till the tournament. And, I mean, he just produced, and his stock has been rising a lot. So I think he could be a solid big. I don't know how good, but I think he can have a little production.
Yeah, again, another thing where we all are probably thinking that Boston doesn't even have this pick at all. So, but number 23, we have Utah Jazz, who kind of
they actually traded that pick.
So that was the pick that got traded today. Yep. So who has that pick now?
The Grizzlies.
Oh, that's right. Okay, Grizzlies. So, well, that kind of changes things up for me. Because I forgot all about the trade. So I didn't know that the draft pick was part of the trade. But I'll go with Carson Edwards, point guard from Purdue. Obviously, that's not the pick now with Memphis, I guess. So, but Carson Edwards, I think, is is going to be the biggest riser in the draft based upon his performance in the NCAA tournament. I don't think he would have been in this position had he not had the NCAA tournament he did. So, but again, it was a crapshoot even if Utah had that pick. So, and now they don't, that's really just up in the air. But who do you think they're taking, Phil?
Let me apologize to this man's family because how I'm about to butcher his name. Ufiandu.
That guy.
That's why I didn't try it. That's why I didn't try it.
M.K. The center out of Florida State. I think he could do really good next to Triple J out there in Memphis. He's very physical. He can space the floor. So I really think that's all you need next to your two twin towers. So I think they'll have a good little young tandem up there in Memphis.
You want pronunciation, you go to Woj. If you want butchering, you go to ATL Sports HQ Live Mock Draft.
I'm usually good with them, but that one.
Brett, who you got going here now with the trade happening?
Yeah, Cam Johnson going to Grizzlies too. They're going to need some shooting, and it's like Cam Johnson's one of the best at it. So perfect fit, I think, especially after the draft or the trade today. So that's who I got going here.
Derek, finish it up.
Got the Grizzlies taking the great Bobo. I don't know how he fits there. I mean, I guess he could stretch the floor if he's able to. I don't really know what he's going to turn out to be, but I do think somebody's going to take him in the first round, and maybe it just happens to be the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, we've been killing him all night. Watch him turn into Shaq.
I just want to change my name to Bob.
Bob.
In honor of Bol. All right, the number 24 Philadelphia 76ers. I got them taking Grant Williams here, power forward from Tennessee. With them facing the possibility of losing Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris, they'll need a versatile forward, and Williams, he's undersized, but he can really step back and shoot. He was one of my favorite players on Tennessee this year, so I got him going there. Who you got, Phil?
I got Cameron Johnson, the senior out of North Carolina. I think Cameron Johnson, these days, honestly, being a 4-year player hurts you, because you're losing what teams value as pretty much 3 years of development at this point, but he's ready to step in there, a team that has championship aspirations, just plug and play. Philadelphia was not deep at all last year, so they could really use a nice wing scoring guy off the bench.
Brett, who you got Philadelphia taking?
Okay, that's where I got Ty Jerome going. He's he's just your average, not your average Joe. He's a good at everything, not bad at anything type player. He was a great leader at Virginia, and I feel he's a great shooter. He's got underrated ball handling skills, and he can take you one-on-one. Good little defender, so I feel like it'd be a nice little bench piece for Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philadelphia, like I said, if they can't keep Jimmy buckets and they also lose Tobias Harris, they really are going to need to start filling some spots again. It almost essentially is going to set them back again after kind of trying to go forward, and not good for Philly fans. You know how they are when something like that happens. So Derek, finish it off. Who you got Philly taking?
I have Philly taking Nick Claxton. They got to figure out what they're doing with their roster next season. You don't know who's staying, who's going. So I think this is sort of a safe pick. I mean, it's someone that can come off the bench for you. They don't really have depth in that area besides Tobias, even if he does stay. So I think it would be a safe pick for him.
He coming to Atlanta.
I'd take him.
I like him too. I've liked his game since his rookie year in Orlando. I remember seeing him. I was like, he's pretty good.
Yeah. He'd fit there too.
For the number 25 is Portland. And for me, this is another guy that really didn't, get a lot of watch being on the West Coast. But KZ Okpala, the forward from Stanford, had an absolutely fantastic sophomore season, and I kind of put him on the map, as being a first-round guy. Great size, and he could play either forward spot. And the Trailblazers could possibly, lose Al-Farouq Aminu this in free agency. So they definitely will probably be looking for a forward here. Phil, who you got here?
I'll grab another guy I can't pronounce. Why did I do this to myself? Matisse Thybulle.
Yeah, my boy Matisse.
out of Washington. So another guy, another senior, but another contending team that plug and play behind CJ and Dame. Someone that battle tested, been around 4 years, so you're not going to be dealing with those normal rookie, immaturities. So he's someone that's really good offensively and really good defensively too. So he's someone that come in there, try to force some turnovers, give you some fire off the bench, and a catch and shoot guy, maybe even run some small ball 3-guard lineups at times.
I follow a lot of Portland stuff, and trust me, they're really high on him. So there's a very good chance that he is the pick there too. So, Brett, who you got here, bud?
I'm with Phil. I got Matisse Thybulle. I don't know much about him, but I know he said the Blazers are really high on him, and that's all I will say about him. I really don't know too much about him, but I do feel like just by looking at his numbers, he'd be a great fit in Portland.
You look at how much Washington improved last year from the previous year. Good coaching. They brought in the coach from Syracuse to run things, at UW this year, and he greatly improved. And Matisse was someone that he took under his wing and really, really, really improved his game. And Syracuse has popped out some really good pro ball players. So I'm excited to see what he can do. See what he can do in the NBA. So. Derek, finish it off.
I got Portland taking Grant Williams from Tennessee. I think he'll fit well there. Most likely coming off the bench, maybe. They don't really have that, at all. The Blazers really don't, if you think about and you just look at the roster. They need better wings. And I think Grant Williams is more of a power forward, but I think he can involve his game more out to the wing. He does a little bit of it all, and he's actually a solid rebounder, even though he's a little undersized at like 6'8". I think he's 6'8", 6'7".
Number 26 is the Cleveland Cavs again. I got him picking Kevin Porter Jr. from USC here. We all know how talented Kevin Porter Jr. is. But, as a freshman, he was just so up and down, and I just don't, I don't trust him as a guy in the top 15 anymore. So I think he needs to sit and learn, and for a year. I actually think that he could be, a benefit from a little bit of D League, honestly. So, but and since he's going to Cleveland, which essentially is the D League, he'll fit in really good there with Cleveland. Who you got, Phil?
I've got Ty Jerome out of Virginia. Really good decision maker. Has good intangibles. He'll fit good next to Colin Sexton. Even though, 26th pick, you'd be lucky if he's starting and playing next to Colin Sexton. But still, you have to draft with the hopes of that. He's not the prettiest player to watch, but it's a good fit.
Brett, who you got the Cavs taking here?
I got them taking Mufon Kabengele. Again, this guy is relentless. He has a nonstop motor. I watched him in person when they played Georgia Tech, and he was flat out the best player on the floor, just bullying everybody around. He's on. He might even crack the start lineup at some point for the Cavs because this guy's not going to be not anything. He's a beast.
Yeah, I agree with you. Derek, who you got here, bud?
I have the Cavs taking Ty Jerome. I think he could be a solid role player. He's like always. It seems like he was always in the right spot at the right time when he played in college. So I think he would be a solid pickup for the Cavs. Another guard that can maybe coexist with Sexton. He would definitely be off the bench in limited minutes, but I think he would fit well there.
All right, so we're getting into the last few picks here. Brooklyn, 27. I've got them taking the great Nicholas Claxton from Georgia. Again, I even think at 27 that's a reach. Yeah, he's a project guy. And he's going. That'd be a situation where he really wouldn't be forced to do anything for a year, grow, learn. Yeah, not a real pressure situation. Brooklyn is on the way up. So again, that's really why I think he would be a good fit there, just to sit and learn and develop for another year. I think really thought he could have benefited from another year at Georgia. So I was surprised to see him in the draft. So, but again, he may have came out with the promise of the Hawks. You just don't know, So, but Phil, who you got there with Brooklyn?
I've got Eric Paschal from the power forward out of Villanova. Brooklyn was rumored to be looking at bigs with their 17 pick. Obviously, that 17 pick now resides down here in Atlanta, so why not take a big with the 27th pick to pair with the shot blocking genius Jarrett Allen. If you guys, I know some players, it's Brooklyn, they weren't on TV that much last year. Just type in on YouTube after the show, of course, Jarrett Allen blocks, and you'll see a feast of blocks on LeBron, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and many other stars in the league. But he's another wing. You can play him at multiple positions down there, different sport spots. He's very long and agile, so he'll be a good guy for Kenny Atkinson.
Brett, who you got Brooklyn taking here?
I got them taking the undersized power forward Grant Williams from Tennessee. This guy, he's going to be. I think he compares a lot to Montrezl Harrell. Again, he's got another guy with a nonstop motor. He can. He carried Tennessee a lot this season. I really like him. I feel like he can contribute right away, and he'll be in the league for a 10, 12 guy year in the league. So he's going to be a special player, I think, for Brooklyn.
Derek, who you got for Brooklyn?
I got the Nets taking Luka Samanic. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. Big guy.
Luka, man.
Yeah, gross.
Big guy that can do a little bit of it all.
If you gotta get out.
But he's a big guy that can score, dribble, shoot. Only thing he really lacks is toughness. I mean, he likes to, out of what I've seen, I mean, I've watched highlights and stuff, it seems like he likes to settle for the outside shot. So I don't know how well that will work in NBA. Definitely can't guard bigs in the NBA, but the Nets seem to like those guys from overseas, and I think he'll be all right.
Really quick story before we move on to the last three, but Luka Doncic, he, I'm really into sports cards and stuff like that, and there's a scandal going on with Luka in the sporting card world where his mom was signing his autograph on his sports cards. So, because all his sports cards say Lulu, and it looks like girly handwriting, and it says Lulu. Yeah, so there's a rumor that his mom has signed all the cards. So, it's going to affect value because his cards were some of the biggest selling cards of last year. So, I just thought that was funny because we can't stand the guys. So, number 28, Golden State. I got them taking Cam Johnson from North Carolina. With the possibility of losing Durant and or Klay Thompson, they could use some scoring.
It's a guarantee.
Johnson is really good size for a wing, and man, he can shoot a three ball. He's a really good light up guy. We know how Golden State likes their 3-point shooters. So, who you got Golden State taking, Phil?
I've got Dylan Windler. He's one of, if not the best shooter in the draft, and of course, without Klay Thompson, without Kevin Durant next year, they're going to need some shooting. Curry won't be able to do it all by himself. Don't tell me Draymond's a star. He's not a star, and he's gonna be very exposed next year, I think, without the security blanket of multiple all-stars surrounding him. But I just think, of course, shooter, Golden State. Book it.
Brett, Golden State.
Yeah, I was kind of flipping with Dylan Windler here, but I settled on Chuma Kiki. I know he's tore his ACL, but it's kind of a lost season anyways for Golden State. You're not going to win anything this year. So I feel like they'll give Kiki a time to rebuild that leg a little bit and get healthy because he was the reason why Auburn got where the point that they did before he tore his ACL in the tournament. He's a star at Auburn, and I'm not saying he's gonna be a star at NBA, but he's got potential. He's got a high ceiling, especially this late in the draft.
Derek, who you got Golden State taking?
I got the Warriors taking a little steal here. KZ Acapella. I think he has a very high ceiling and can be a solid piece for the Warriors. They lost their wing, obviously, in Kevin Durant. And, I mean, I think his talent ability is up there with some of the top players in the draft. I just don't think it was really he was really able to showcase it because of the lack of attention. But I think he'll be really solid. And I mean, the Warriors seem to find some steals later in the draft, so I think that's where he'll go.
Big shout out to Derek for having Washington Huskies' own Warren Moon up on his wall behind him. That's my man. Greatest quarterback ever. All right. Who we got here? We are at San Antonio. I got them taking Matisse from Washington. Good perimeter depth. I really, really, really like him. And I think he would be a great addition to San Antonio because he's defensive first wing. San Antonio, all about the defense. So I just think he would benefit really, really well playing under Pop. So who you got the Spurs taking here, Phil?
I've got Luka Semantic. He's an international guy. Of course, the Pops are going to go international. He's got to get a little stronger. He's not very physical, but it's a Spurs type player. You don't really think of physical play when you talk about the Spurs. You think of finesse.
Yeah, I agree. He would be my second choice. If I didn't have Matisse still there. So, Brett, who you got him taking here?
I got him taking Bruno Fernando out of Maryland. This guy, he's kind of a mystery guy. No one really knows what he's going to be like, but he's a double-double machine at Maryland. And the Big Ten tournament against Michigan, he has 6 blocks. So this guy, he's kind of a mixed bag, and what you're going to get from him, he's a post player. He's like he can't really stretch out his game too far, but he can. He attempted a small amount of threes, but still I won't translate well to the NBA without a few years' work. But again, I feel like it's a Pop type player here. He's a solid player, a good little project, but it's a great rim protector already.
Derek, who you got?
Spurs.
Spurs.
I got same with Brett. I got Bruno going to the Spurs. I think he's just like a junkyard dog down there. Big boy, battles down low, does a lot of the dirty work. That's a player that Pop will like. So
yep.
I got him going there.
All right, to end the first round and end our little mock draft action here, Milwaukee Bucks. I got them taking Bruno for all the same reasons as you guys said, but I just think the Bucks are the one that need the inside depth. Brooke Lopez, free agent, and you remember last year they got rid of Thon and John Henson, so they have a need for a style of Bruno. So, but I like him for the same reasons that you two just said about him. So, who you got the Bucks ticket, Phil?
Yeah, I got them. Taking Bruno Fernando. It just sounds like a Bud name.
Yeah, doesn't it? That's what I thought so too.
But obviously, I don't think Milwaukee's going to have the money to pay Brooke Lopez. So Bud University, Durham, they can teach him how to shoot the three decently. I think so. I really think there's some value here for Milwaukee to go that way.
Well, Brett, since I know you ain't got Bruno, who you got, buddy?
I got him taking Dylan Windler. Phil said earlier, this kid, he's a flat out shooter. He can fill it up from behind the arc, and I mean, take him like Phil just said, Bud University up there in Milwaukee. There's no disguise limit for him shooting wise, and he's going to be no more than just a deadly 3-point shooter. But still, he's going to be a real good one at that. He's going to be like a Kyle Korver type player.
Derek, who you got?
I got the Bucks taking Talon Horton Tucker, guard, long arms, very long arms. I mean, they go down almost to his ankles. I think he would be a solid defensive player off the bench for them. So I got him going there.
Well, I think that pretty much ends things. Let's tomorrow draft. What time does it start?
Coverage starts at 7. I think the actual
first pick is probably like 7:47. If I'm really being honest.
Yeah, they gotta have 40 minutes of BSing, but definitely make sure you're checking out at ATL Sports HQ and at ATL Hawks _talk, where I'm sure that we will have good draft coverage going on. Which one are we gonna put draft coverage on? Both or the main HQ?
It'll be on ATL Hawks _talk.
All right. Yep. So there we go. ATL Hawks _talk is where we will have our draft coverage. And like I said, it's really big for us this year. We got a lot of picks. We have opportunities. We have, could fall back. We could move forward. As long as they don't draft Nick Claxton, I'm perfectly happy with the options that we have here. I will be throwing across the room if he is the pick. If he is the pick at 17, I'm okay with it. If he's to pick any earlier than that, and I'm throwing stuff, I'm not joking.
And also, Hawks fans, of course, as always, I will be down there at the arena. So come give me a shout, and we can get you linked into HQ because I know you want to come right. All right.
Yeah, man, come hang out and do everything with us. But we appreciate you guys that stuck it out with us on YouTube and hung out. I'm sure the regulars were there. Our guy Devontae, he always hanging out with us, so I'm sure he's over there on YouTube hanging out. So yeah, we appreciate you all, and kind of want to make this a yearly thing, doing the NFL and NBA. It's a lot of fun for us and gives us a chance to learn about some of these guys that we may not know that much about. So, but thanks for joining us. And I'm going to think that we will be back to a regular show. Probably Sunday, maybe Sunday. Yeah, probably Sunday, because we'll have a lot to talk about with the draft. So maybe Sunday. If not, we'll definitely shoot for Wednesday, but we will have a show this week to talk about the Hawks draft and everything going on. It'll be such a busy week. So we'll look forward to seeing you guys then, and thanks for joining us on the ATL Sports HQ 2019 NBA mock draft. We'll see y'all later.